The quarterfinal round of the NIT set to begin between Mississippi State and Richmond in a few moments. Well, at least so we thought. And now things are a little bit up in the air, and we'll get to that in a moment. Derek Jones and John Crispin with you this evening. And John, we take a look at something that is not so great for the start of this game, and this is pregame. A malfunctioning basket has really changed up the routine here for both teams.
Yeah, and they have to pause the game because ultimately both teams need time to get loose. There are pregame routines that you are used to and you want to be able to go through that entire routine. Clearly both teams not able to get shots up. And I'll tell you, as someone who liked to shoot back in my day, if that basket's 1 inch off, you've got to fix it. And you also don't want to warm up on that basket. So good job by the crew here to get another basket out, get it all set up, and now the teams get the time they need to get ready.
NIT quarterfinal round action will start in a bit between Mississippi State and Richmond. Hang with us. We'll have tip-off coming up in a little bit. Welcome to ESPN's presentation of college basketball, the 2021 NIT. Denton, Texas is the site for quarterfinal round action in the NIT between Mississippi State and Richmond. A big night of college hoops in the NIT, and it begins here in Denton with the winner of Mississippi State and Richmond taking on the winner of Western Kentucky and Louisiana Tech that takes place later on tonight. Hello, everybody. Derek Jones and John Crispin with you this evening. As, John, we take a look at two teams who are led by two head coaches very aware of the dangers coming into tonight's game.
Yeah, we had great conversations with Ben Hallen and Chris Moody. Ben Hallen I actually played for at UCLA, so it's good to catch up with him. But they expressed a sincere appreciation for the strengths of their opponent, and consequently, they're contrasting by nature. One thing first, Mississippi State, they've got size. They're going to play with two bigs. They've got young guards, so a lot to figure out on the fly. And then you look at Richmond, you see experience, a lot of veterans, and they play 5 out, none in. So they'll challenge one another in different ways. I think the other thing that stood out to me was the fact that both coaches expressed an appreciation and a gratitude for being in this position. Great opportunity for Richmond, maybe to get some of these guys going out on top. Good opportunity for Ben Hallen and Mississippi State with a young group, maybe to take this run right now and turn it into an NCAA tournament run next year.
Well, when you take a look at first on the side of Mississippi State and the youth that they have, DJ Stewart and Iverson Molinar, a key area for them in terms of point distribution. The freshmen and sophomores here, John, really lead the scoring department for Mississippi State.
Yeah, they're dynamic, but both can score about 16-plus points a game, but they can get up and give you 25 on any given night. Just depends what the defense is able to keep them from doing. They're dynamic, they attack, they make a lot happen. And I got to say, it's tough as a guard to attack off the bounce when you play with two bigs. Two bigs often bring help. So Molinar has had to be really creative with how he makes, his opportunities. Some off the bounce, some you've got to make shots. DJ Stewart, when he shoots the ball well from three, good things happen for Mississippi State.
On the other side for Richmond, they will look to find scoring because they have some serious injury issues. Nick Sherrod out earlier this season in the preseason with an ACL injury, but Grant Golden and Blake Francis, two of their key cogs, out as well, and that puts a lot of pressure on Jacob Gilliard, John.
Yeah, Jacob Gilliard is one of my favorite players in the country. We followed him for the past couple years, and he's known for his steals. He averages over 3.5 steals a game, which means he's great. He's got great instincts. He anticipates really well. He's got great feel for the game, and when you have a good feel for the game, when you have good instincts, scoring comes a little easier. So I think as his defense has really been what he showcases night in, night out, his scoring has continued to improve. He's got good instincts and feel on the offensive end, and when he's got it going, this is a tough team to match up against.
And Jacob Gilliard always enters games with some extra motivation. That tattoo, Roman's Army, paying salute to his brother Roman, who has autism, and this is in salute to the annual event Autism Speaks, which of course helps raise awareness for the disorder that affects an estimated 1 in 54 children in the United States, and that tattoo not only sported by Jacob, but also by his mother as well.
Yeah, I think people should go out, Google it, read a story, because when you read the story, you realize this is a young man with great perspective and doing bigger things off the court than he is on.
The opening tap controlled by the Bulldogs of Mississippi State, and we are underway. NIT quarterfinal round action. Kirby Sitton, John Floyd, Chance Moore, your officials tonight. DJ Stewart. Abdul Adu, and we'll get into the starting lineup issues for Mississippi State coming up momentarily. Iverson Molinar knocking it down.
It's interesting to see that matchup going right at Jacob Gilliard, and Gilliard is not a big guard, so you can attack him and shoot over the top.
Gilliard, Wilson, Burton, KO, Grace, the 5. Obviously, an injury-depleted roster for Richmond heading into this one. Shot clock to 10. Isaiah Wilson. The kick out. 3-ball up. That's good.
And that's just good execution, but it's also great patience. Usually when the shot clock gets down, it leads to a bad shot. Guys usually don't have the patience and understanding the time and score to be able to kick that thing out.
Matt Grace, one of the players that will see some extended time because of the injury situation. Getting off to a good start, and a foul called as DJ Stewart, trying to attack there in the low blocks with the basketball, couldn't get started.
It's always interesting to watch early how you're going to defend the things you're concerned with. And we talked to Chris Mooney. He pointed out the length, the athleticism, the physicality, particularly playing against two bigs.
Molinar, that's a spot right there. 2 in a row for him to give Mississippi State the 4-3 lead.
And that's where Jacob Gilliard probably needs to be up tighter. Take that jump shot away. Not a lot of guys like that 15-foot jump shot. Molinar does.
Grace looking for help. The kick out. Wilson can't hit. The rebound snatched out of the air by Stewart.
I think
or check that Molinar.
I think you have to just point out, it's obvious that the strength in terms of length and athleticism, that advantage for Mississippi State is obvious. Now, that could be negated with good spacing. It could be negated with good back cutting, good reads, and that's something that this Richmond team does really well. You look at the spacing they have on the floor already, playing through a passing 5.
Down low, hanging in the air, can't finish it off. Burton held in check defensively. Outside. The 3 off, and Grace tracking down the loose ball.
Some of those missed shots, rebounds lead to a nice little run out. And if Richmond can get into it, that's exactly what they're looking for. Get into your action, create a little rhythm off the bounce. Now you're getting the shots you want.
That's good. So Jacob Gilliard showing the range from the outside. He is known a lot for his defensive wares, but he can also score.
Yeah, and that's just great execution. Coming down the floor, capitalizing against that transition defense, which is trying to get set. And when you're playing against Richmond in this quasi-Princeton offense, because that's what I'm going to call it, you're trying to get set, see the basketball, and get established. If Richmond doesn't allow the defense to get established, it's advantage Richmond.
Shot clock to 2, and a foul as Stewart was ready to roll there, but got bumped. And that will give new life to this Mississippi State possession. Chris Mooney, the head coach of Richmond, 16th season with the Spiders. And certainly you take a look at teams that were impacted by the COVID stop last year. Richmond had a tremendous year last year, but obviously could not finish it off.
You think about who Richmond was earlier this season, a top 20 program. It was going into that West Virginia game where you had high hopes for the potential of this program. I think they were exposed a little bit in the sense that they are small. Small guards, it's just tough to get the pressure you need against bigger athletic guards who can pass over the top.
Grace hit a 3 earlier. Almost got another opportunity there. Andre Gustafson in the mix, and a turnover. Stewart tried to spin away, but he got fouled, or no, he traveled.
Yeah, and it was caused by Jacob Gilliard. I mean, that's the feel, that's the instinct that we talk about. He's going to get there. He's going to beat the offensive man to the spot, forces the travel. I know that won't count as a steal, but it should.
It'll go in the turnover bank either way, and Richmond will try to expand upon this 6-4 lead coming in after a win in round 1 over Toledo by 10. Gilliard for 3. Got it.
Man, look, if he's going to knock down that spot up 3, you need to be closer on the catch. And his footwork into the shot preparation, all there. He understands it's going to be harder for him to get some shots off with his size. So shot preparation is key.
And a turnover off the steal attempt as Gilliard working early. It's a 9-4 Richmond lead. Come on back. ESPN's exclusive presentation of the NIT is brought to you by Pizza Hut. Order today at pizzahut.com. And by Can-Am. This year marks the 30th anniversary of Mississippi State's 1991 SEC championship team, their first SEC title. It was also the program's first NCAA tournament appearance since the 1963 team that played in what became known as the Game of Change. Mississippi State met Loyola Chicago in the 1963 NCAA tournament, with Loyola starting 4 black players and Mississippi State having none. An injunction was issued to prohibit the Bulldogs from playing, but ultimately it was not enforced. Loyola won the game 61-51 and eventually won the 1963 NCAA national title. And Mississippi State basketball as a part of the SEC, certainly a very difficult conference to play in on an annual basis. They get tested for sure.
You know, the problem with some of these Power 5 schools and Power 5 conferences is year over year, yes, it's difficult to win in conference, but year over year, every team looks so different. You know, you think of Kentucky, how many guys are going to leave and go to the NBA? I mean, last year, 2 guys leave early for the NBA from Mississippi State, and you look like a completely different team. So it's not just preparing for yourselves, it's also preparing for your opponents.
Gustafson misses on the jumper. Stewart trying to dig in.
If you just watch the bigs in the paint, how do they vacate and create space, open lanes for the guards to make something happen? Playing with 2 bigs, it's almost unorthodox nowadays.
Tipped in and a steal, and you're right. I mean, we see so many threes in college and pros, as this one dumped in down low. The layup short, still loose, and the save attempted that time by Cameron Matthews in the 3. That one's no good, still loose, and that one heading out of bounds. So Nathan Kao battling there down low, couldn't get the shot to go, and eventually the possession saved there for the Spiders.
Yeah, back to your point, like the game has become so, you know, it's threes and dunks, or layups. If you can't dunk, that's fine, we'll take a layup. It's threes and layups, and you see that in the NBA in particular. I mean, it is a lob dunk, easy thing at the rim, or you're looking for a 3. There are times in the NBA, I'm watching NBA, guys have what appears to be an open layup, and they pass it up to get an open 3.
And a steal, Stewart. Squeezes a pass inside, the layup is good.
That's what I felt.
Nicely done
defense.
There to Abul Adu.
Yeah, I feel like transition defense is going to be an issue for Richmond. They're good when they get set. They can communicate, see the basketball, get pressure on the ball, and just at least, you know, force some difficult passes for Mississippi State. But transition defense there was lacking.
Ball knocked out of bounds, intended for Kao.
If you don't stop the basketball, you're always going to get into trouble. I mean, no one really contains it. Maybe that you showed, but you didn't actually contain the basketball. In transition, you just need to stop the ball, force it to the other side of the floor, and start your communication as a defense early.
Adu, amongst those low post players that John alluded to, could be a force in this game.
He's got a motor, man. He just goes. Love those guys. I hate to play against them, but love to have them on my team.
Adu has the rebound there. Inside, turnaround hook shot flipped up at the rim. No good by Derek Fountain, but a foul.
Now, okay, is it just me, or does this ball seem very orange? Come on, this looks like the cleanest basketball in the history. I know, like, we're not supposed to bring these things up. It's a broadcast, but like, it's the thing that jumps out to me the most. Someone out there is going to end up tweeting me and say, "Yes, you're right. It is. It's super orange." The thing's like neon.
Adu in the corner, cutting down low and scoring is Molinar.
And that's one of those issues with the size, right? Size can see over defense. That's why everybody wants a 6'10" quarterback if you can find him. You can see over top of the line. Same thing happens for passers. If you can see over top of the defense, you can anticipate more than everybody else.
1 point lead for Richmond. Gilliard at 5'9", cut off from getting that shot off. KO. Working. Turnaround. Can't hit.
And that's just not who they are. That ball needs to get out around the perimeter, find your passers, get your cuts moving. Again, you want to create rhythm with your movement.
Easy layup for Abdul Adu.
It's funny, one bad offensive possession and it hurts you on the defensive end. I wish I knew that as a player. I probably would have taken less bad shots, but it really does impact what you do on the defensive end.
John, a man you know quite well, the former UCLA head coach in his 6th season now with Mississippi State, Ben Howland.
And God, what he did at UCLA was remarkable. It's not an easy place, too. I just want to point this out. Look, I didn't play much my senior year for him. You know, he had a 3-year plan. I remember him saying, I got a 3-year plan, and we're going to build with what we've got, but we're going to grow with new guys coming in. You know, he had Jordan Farmar, Aaron Aflalo coming in. Those guys were good as seniors in high school. And within 3 years from when he got there, they went to 3 straight Final Fours. I mean, that's ridiculous. I know UCLA may not appreciate that as much when you look at the 11 national championship banners hanging up in Pauley Pavilion, but that's a remarkable thing to accomplish.
Trying to translate that success here with the Bulldogs, who lead it by 1. Quentin Post in the mix now for Mississippi State. A poke and a steal. Gilliard in the mix once again. Gustafson rolling to the rim, lays it in.
That's just good movement. He saw the space. If you move well, you create driving lanes. Just like you want to move in space to create passing lanes, that movement, you get a defense chasing a little bit, it opens up a driving lane, and you attack.
Tried to get it to Post and a steal. We might be saying that a lot on behalf of Richmond tonight. Burton posting up. Loose, and a foul on the way. This will be against DJ Stewart.
You know, I'd really like to see Richmond get into their offense a little bit more, mainly because when I'm watching this game, I'm looking for the way Mississippi State defends. I'm looking how they adhere to their defensive principles. I'm looking for how they take that back cut away. So the more Richmond can get into it early, the more they're going to be able to work through their adjustments.
Burton lost the handle. Both teams having trouble holding on to the basketball early.
It's too bright. I'm not letting that go. I still think it's neon orange.
The floor is bright as well.
Yo, man.
Mixing in with the aesthetic. And we're going the other way. Legal screen, 1 point lead for Richmond. Mississippi State and Richmond, NIT quarterfinal round action. Derek Jones and John Crispin with you this evening. The Spiders have had to deal with a lot of stops and starts this season in terms of COVID. 3 COVID pauses there, John. How do you think that impacts a team?
Well, it's disruptive. That's the thing. I mean, you think about what you want to do as a defense. You're not going to stop every shot, but you want to be disruptive. You want to stop a team from being comfortable. And that's what COVID did, in my opinion, throughout the course of this season. It kept you from gaining confidence. It kept you from gaining momentum and rhythm, where you feel like you finally have it, and then you go on a pause, and then you have to recreate it again. And when you go through 2 or 3 of those throughout the course of a season, it's expected that you're going to struggle. There are some teams that have handled it really well. I think Baylor handled it really well. Not perfect, but they handled it very well. I thought Michigan, after 20-some days being down, they handled it very well, but they're high-level teams. They're playing at a different level.
And how about Matt Grace showing the range? Again, we've talked about the pauses being an issue. Injuries an issue right now for Richmond because they're without their top 2 scorers heading into this game tonight. And for the moment, Grace helping to fill the void. And a steal by Gustafson. Burton down the lane, gets blocked, but a whistle.
And back to your point, though, you've got to think Grace is going up against Golden in practice quite a bit. So you're learning a lot. And I think that helps you. That makes you better. It creates opportunities for you to grow. I'm not sure where the foul was. Did you see a foul? I mean, I just feel like if you fall, if you fall at a play towards the rim, there's a good chance you're getting the call.
And that was charged to Cameron Matthews.
And he pointed down. He's kind of like, he just fell. I think the college game needs to get better at the plays on the rim. Now the first part of that is to do something with the block charge. I've got all sorts of fixes for that, but they're always better as hypotheticals. But you've got to figure that out. Plays at the rim have gotten better this year because you're allowing the wall up, and coaches are teaching it well, and officials have really adjusted. So they're waiting to see the contact, who creates the contact. I think it's a good thing for the game. But at some point, we've got to figure out to create better rhythm and flow within the game. When it's there, it's great. When it's not, man, too many whistles can really hurt the game.
6-point lead here off the run, and Adu throws it down.
Yeah, not much you can do about that other than apply better ball pressure. You know, that's the thing. If you're undersized down low and you're not playing a three-quarter front backside help, you've got to apply heavy pressure to the basketball to at least negate that pass.
Adu checking Grace, and we'll have a hold there, as it looked like that time Jai Bailey was trying to shake free.
And this is so tough. Maybe here you're just going to pick out your pass. No ball pressure up by the ball. You're not really negating any pass, and Adu is just too big when he's got position. Now, defensively, if you're undersized, and this is coming from somebody who was always undersized, you have to play your defense early. That means you got to fight early, get position. If you get position, you're in better shape.
Loose ball out of bounds off the drive by Wilson. It'll stay with the Spiders.
You know, even that previous possession where the foul occurred, and I believe it was Bailey, I think, that did get the foul, but if you run your offense, good things are going to happen because the defense has to figure out what you're doing. I think the more you run that offense, the more you get into those options, right? The options could be a back cut. It could be a dribble handoff. It could just be a pop-out catch and ball screen. There are different options that you get to, but you've got to progress through them, mainly because you want to see what the defense is doing. If the defense is trying to jump high, you're going to back cut. Get that defense to play honest.
After the 5 count, 5th turnover of the evening on the Spiders. Stewart looking in to the post. Turnaround shot, got it.
That's just physical basketball. There's not much you can do about it other than play defense early. Deny that pass.
Javian Davis filling in for Tolu Smith tonight. Cuts it to a 2-point game. That 3 is off out of the hands of Burton. Molinar trying to feed the post, and we'll get a whistle here. Trying to go to Adu.
Richmond's doing a good job, though, defensively. 8 turnovers for Mississippi State, 6 steals for Richmond, which means even those other 2 turnovers, again, you might as well call them steals. These are turnovers that are being forced by Richmond. There are some teams that just throw the ball all over the place. Mississippi State is not doing that, but they're being forced into some bad situations.
4-point lead for the Spiders. 9 minutes and under left to go in half one. Falling to the floor and a timeout called. Molinar got into a bit of a pickle there. And Mississippi State will have to use a timeout. 2-point lead, NIT quarterfinal, more to come. (16-14) Richmond lead. Derek Jones and John Crispin with you as Coach Hallen looking on, trying to get his team into the semifinals of the NIT. It's going to be a quick sprint to the finish here. Teams will get an off day tomorrow before jumping right back in to semifinal and final round action on Saturday and Sunday.
And there's something special about the Final Four in the NIT, just not having the awareness there. Part of me wanted to yell, shot clock, shot clock. You know, we're watching it and you see certain players on the floor are just not paying attention and probably weren't paying attention in the timeout, because please believe that was discussed. But back to that point, there's something special. It's almost like it gets really real. When, you know, once you win a game or two, and again, 16 teams in the NIT this year, 32 normally. Once you win a game or two, you start to pick up energy. And you get a little more enthusiastic about the NIT and where you could end up. Now, granted, we're not at Madison Square Garden where the Final Four typically is, but my freshman year, I remember it well. It was a well put together event. We had dinner at Tavern on the Green, and Bill Raftery is speaking at the dinner. We had the ESPN Zone at the time, then in Times Square, where all the teams came together and we were just playing games. It's a major event, and it feels like you're playing for a championship. So I think at this point, everything being played in the same location, I think you're already feeling some of that. Could be pressure for some, just could be anxiety for the others.
Foul picked up by Adu. And KO gets both to go, coming off of a 15-6 performance against Toledo in the NIT opener. 4-point lead for the Spiders.
I think for teams like this, I mean, these are two good basketball teams, fringe NCAA tournament teams, we'll call it. It's more about what you're going to do with this opportunity. And so far, I think both teams playing well. If Mississippi State can take care of the basketball, I think the score will be different.
Jai Bailey hitting, and that extends the lead out to 6. So great rebound there by the 5'9" Gilliard.
Gilliard's that guy. I mean, he just makes all sorts of things happen. You create a second chance opportunity, you get easy baskets, and oh, by the way, it allows you to get your defense set.
Congratulations for my Adu. I'm proud of him, and I want the good God to bless him and long life for him.
Abdul, I just want to congratulate you for the achievements you have done so far, and I pray you move to greater heights and become one of the best basketballers that have ever lived.
This past December, Abdul Adu became the first in his family to graduate from college. The Nigeria native left his mother and 2 siblings when he was 16 and came to the United States. He went to school at Hamilton Heights Christian Academy in Chattanooga, Tennessee, earned a basketball scholarship to Mississippi State, and has been a critical piece for this program. He started in 128 of 129 games for the Bulldogs, which is tops in program history.
But the best thing was his face as he's listening to his family talk and congratulate him on what he's been able to accomplish. I mean, it was just so authentic, right? There's no way to replicate that feeling.
You know it means so much as we get a shot clock violation here. Once again, the defense of Richmond standing up impressively. And this has been one of the storylines here of this first half. Richmond defensively hanging in there with a team in Mississippi State that's trying to get physical with them.
Yeah, and at some point, if you're Mississippi State, look, let's just find a little rhythm and confidence offensively by making the simple pass, the easy play. You know, your athleticism, your length, there's ways to beat Richmond using that first. You don't need to force things in a bad situation. Right now, 11 turnovers, 7 steals for Richmond. Seems to be going their way on that end.
Bailey lost a handle, but he was fouled. And it's an interesting dynamic with how this matchup sets up, because you have Richmond, a team that's 13th in the A-10 in terms of field goal percentage defense out of 14 teams. So they're not necessarily known for their defense, more so offensively, but they've done a very nice job here on that side of the court.
You know, it's funny, though, because field goal percentage defense leaves out the steal part of it, right? And the steal part of it is also a pressure part of it, which means you are being disruptive. You may be taking a team out of what they do. Now, I think the size or the lack thereof does lead to higher shooting percentages. But if the steals, if that type of attention defensively can limit possessions, or at least possessions that lead to a good shot, then the defense is still doing their job.
7-point lead for Richmond. And a foul on the entry pass to Davis. Javion Davis can't quite get to it, but there was some help involved.
Yeah, there's going to be, at some point, you're going to get caught behind. If you don't fight with everything you've got to keep that pass out of the paint, that's where Richmond's going to get beat.
That's number 2 on KO. Stewart drifting over, lines up a lefty 3, can't connect. Strong rebound, pulled in by Davis, and he was fouled.
I feel like I can put myself in Chris Mooney's head right now, and he's basically saying, yeah, I don't have anything for that. I mean, look at this rebound. Granted, backside, nobody there to block out, but I don't know who from Richmond's going up and getting that. So if you're not going to be able to get that rebound where the ball was, then you better block out.
6.5 left to go in the first half. Molnar hits the deck, tied up. And the possession arrow points in favor of Mississippi State, so they'll maintain possession.
What do you think about the possession arrow in the college game? Should we go to a jump ball?
I would love for a jump ball to, or at least do it inside of 2 minutes.
Yeah, like just something. I just think it could be to your advantage if you have the possession arrow, yet the defense played great defense and tied you up. Give them a chance. Wow. Didn't see that.
What a J by Iverson Molinar. He is named after, surprise, surprise, Allen Iverson.
No pressure. Not like there's much to live up to there. That guy played on just a different level. I'd say of all the things that Allen Iverson did really well, which there was a lot, Allen Iverson, when he finished at the rim, never took his eyes off the rim. He might be, horizontal. You know what I mean? Like, he's just getting contact, but he always kept his eyes on, and he always got the ball on the rim. It gave it a chance. That guy was impressive for a number of reasons, but that one always got me. At his size, finishing with contact, keeping his eyes on the rim. Fearless.
Stewart connects.
Woo. Well, it might turn the ball over a lot, but if you make some threes, 2 quick ones there from Stewart and Molinar, that'll get you back in the game. But again, it also gets your defense set. But we haven't seen the offense as we expected to see it from Richmond. Spacing, cutting, making those reads. Here it is.
Staples of that Princeton offense. Gilliard! A 4-point play opportunity on the way for Jacob Gilliard.
But so much of this is set up by the concern for the back cut. When you're playing through a passing 5, and he makes good passes. I mean, if you're going to play 5 for Richmond, Molinar's got to sag. He's sagging to take away that back cut, and then he's late with no help on the handoff and 3.
And he's not the guy Not that you want to foul any three-point shooter, but certainly not Molinar, who is shooting 41% from three. And he is a deadly shooter. And again, we've talked so much about his defensive prowess. He's a former A-10 Defensive Player of the Year, but he can drill it from the outside. 2-on-1 the other way. Inside, the layup is in, courtesy of Quentin Post.
It was strange. It was as if the two closest officials didn't want to make that call. I'm assuming they called the foul on the shot, correct?
Appears
two
to be
officials, right in front of it. I like the play on. But whatever, give him a foul shot.
It was a late whistle, but nonetheless a three-point play opportunity for the sophomore who drills it.
I always get a kick out of the NCAA tournament, the NIT. You're working with different crews if you're an official, usually. Sometimes you work with similar guys, maybe guys you call games in the Big Ten or the SEC. But the mixed crews, they all have different tendencies. And there are a lot of times in the NCAA tournament, the NIT, where they all look at one another, almost like, is that what you're calling? Like, they're not used to one another. And you can tell. It's very interesting how these different conferences are clearly called differently, which they don't want to admit. They are. They totally are. Like the Pac-12 versus the Big Ten, the game's played differently, so you adjust to the game. That's how inevitably it's going to be called differently.
SEC versus A-10, the floater by Solomon Qureshi, no good. And a near steal, but Post tracks it down. Molinar throws it down.
Go on.
Iverson Molinar takes the elevator to the top floor.
Sometimes they sneak up on you. I don't think anybody was ready for that, present company included.
I would concur. Scramble on the floor, and a jump ball will be called, or will we have a timeout here? It looks like we will have a jump ball called, and we'll go in favor of Richmond.
So that's the thing. It's almost the problem with doing this a lot. You get almost like numb to something like this. I mean, that's an aggressive take to the basket. And you do enough basketball, and you're kind of like, yeah, nice take. It's like, no. That was special. But I think we get spoiled throughout college basketball. We forget that there's so much great talent out there, and it's not at the Power 5 level. Not just at the Power 5 level. You know, we talk about, recruiting and all this. Yeah, it's really hard to recruit the top 100, but there's a ton of talent out there, and I think you're seeing that. Guys like Jacob Gilliard at Richmond. That kid can play anywhere in the country.
One of the greats in Richmond program history, showing you why in this first half as he extends the lead out to 6.
13 points. 13 points, 4 of 5 from 3. Wow.
Stewart looked like he wanted to answer there, and he got stripped. The ball out of bounds. It'll stay with Mississippi State.
So I'm going to try
left to go in the half.
I'm going to try to be more excited about this. Like, this is something special. Oh, almost a little shuffle step, but when you get your feet lined up, just get the heck out of the way. Man, I tell you, it's crazy. And look, this is coming from a guy who transferred. I transferred from Penn State to UCLA, and if I could do it over again, I probably wouldn't, although I did appreciate the time I got at UCLA and the experience I had. I wouldn't be surprised to see well over 1,000. And you start to wonder, though, at what point do you realize the opportunities aren't there because it's just a flooded market? It's crazy to see what's going on.
Bowling to the rim and rejected by Adu.
Oh, good.
Gilliard gets a hand in on it. Spinning to the rim. The layup is in. Back and forth. Davon Smith with the finish to cut it to a 3-point game.
Yeah, Smith, great in transition, great in the open floor, but the near turnover, I mean, those are the things you just have to eliminate. Make a simple pass, no reason to throw the home run. Just get some control of this basketball game.
KO working against Adu. Shot clock to 5. Falling in, and a foul on the way against the Bulldogs.
And that's frustrating if you're, look, you're operating defensively. There's not much space there to work with. And defensively, if Mississippi State isn't really able to contain the basketball, keep it on one side, limit some of those passing lanes, it's going to create opportunities like that in transition. Now, that also was after another near turnover. Again, 11 turnovers on the day for Mississippi State.
The NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship continues Saturday with Sweet 16 matchups. For more information, go to NCAA.com, your official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. A lead of 4, 31-27 for Richmond, with 2:55 left to go in the first half. Richmond trying to improve their record to 3-0 this season against the SEC. They defeated then number 10 Kentucky earlier in the year and also have a win over Vanderbilt.
I feel like seeding kind of goes out. Look at the anticipation. Jacob Gilliard, he missed it, but that was another near steal. Just anticipating the play, kind of jumping over the top, which you don't give everybody free rein to do. Jacob Gilliard, he gets free rein to take those chances. Great pass.
Gray stripped. It'll stay with the Spiders. And Gilliard, by the numbers, he's one of the great steal artists in the history of college basketball when you take a look at what he's been able to do.
But I think part of it is, great feel, great instincts, anticipation, all that stuff, like without a doubt. But you also have to have the freedom to take chances. And I think he's earned the freedom to take chances, and that's where Richmond's really been able to capitalize.
And a foul is Molinar with the basketball.
Like, could you imagine a freshman coming in saying, Coach, I can really steal the basketball. I'm going to take a lot of chances, and some of those chances may lead to dunks or layups for the other team. No way a coach allows it. You have to prove that you can do those things. And part of that process is showing that you understand how the game is played. You feel it out, right? So you understand the risks you're taking. Jacob Gilliard clearly gets it.
So a 1-and-1 situation. Molinar at the stripe. The NCAA Men's Basketball Championship Sweet 16 begins Saturday on CBS and TBS. Or you can stream games on the March Madness Live app. For more information on game times and networks, go to ncaa.com. The story behind Gilliard's recruitment is interesting. Marcus Jenkins, who is an associate head coach with Chris Mooney at Richmond, discovered him while at a tournament in Atlanta, and he had a list of recruits, and Gilliard's name wasn't among them. But he saw this smaller player making all these standout defensive plays, and he thought to himself, well, I got to figure out a way to get this guy. He described it basically as total luck in terms of landing Gilliard at Richmond.
I also think guys that get how to play defense figure offense out a little bit better. You develop, obviously, a shot, whatever you need, but you just understand the game better, how it's played, understand rotations, all those things. You seem to create opportunities because of your feel for the defense.
Almost like that one, but the three rims out, and it will stay with Richmond.
No, I'm not going to make that point like a thesis or anything, because I don't know if I can really point to anything, but I just think as I got better as a player and understood what I could take away defensively, it made me more aware of some of the challenges you face on the offensive end. It also taught you some of the counters that may be available if you really understand how to work through things as a defense. So if you get how to anticipate, you're reading what a team might be doing, you're taking away their primary option, you may learn a little on the offensive end as well.
Grace spinning off. Stuck, and a whistle here against Adu.
He was just left on an island. Not an egregious foul by any means, but they're going to look for that every single time. I feel like bigs get called on that a lot too. The two hands on the dribbler. You're allowed to arm bar, but they're going to, God, that's not much.
That's Adu's second.
That's not much.
A tightly officiated first half, 9 fouls on the side of the Bulldogs, 7 for Richmond, and thus leading to a 1-and-1 for Grace.
But look, it's really simple. If Mississippi State right now is down 3 points. If you just take care of the basketball, give yourselves more options and opportunities on the offensive end by maintaining possession for a longer period of time, you're going to win this basketball game.
1 out of 2 for Grace, as Matthews tracks down the loose ball as we approach 1 minute left to go in the first half. 3-point game. And Matthews trying to kick it out. The ball looked like it got kicked out of bounds, staying with the Bulldogs.
But even that play with Grace and Burton there, Grace comes down to take away the baseline drive. But Burton adjusts to where the next pass was. He understood he had help. And the guy that he was taking the pass away from was Grace's man. So that's just it's a sign of good field defensively, where Burton adjusts to take that next pass away and didn't just focus solely on the basketball.
Stewart lost his shoe outside for post, but they're going to stop the play.
I mean,
and
where was that play
frustrating
stopped?
Experiences for a basketball player.
So that was stopped right before the shot, I would assume. And now you're going to get the people saying, why is he not wearing high tops? You know, maybe just tie your shoes tighter. That's it. Some dudes, look, I played with guys that didn't tie their shoes at all. I think that's crazy. Yes,
that's unbelievable.
Did not tie their shoes. I'm like, how's that possible? I wore 3 pairs of socks and tied them super tight.
Molinar. Well, it looks like he can play with his shoes untied, tied, double tied, whatever. We're tied at 32.
And hands down, he just walked right into it. And sometimes you dribble into a shot, it becomes a rhythm dribble, and it becomes a higher percentage shot.
Gustafson, he finishes at the rack.
It's almost as if no one believed he was actually going to try to finish that at the rim. I mean, the help was there. They just didn't even dig down, which I like to a degree. You don't want to overhelp. That was something that was, it was bad in college basketball for a while there. As teams started to spread the floor a little bit more, there was always this overhelp, which led to a drive and kick open three. Teams have adjusted quite a bit where you're not leaving shooters. You're showing but maintaining some sort of proximity to shooters.
Down to 5. Stewart spins, launches, scores. And that rounds out a first half that was up and down for Mississippi State, but concludes in a 34-all tie. NIT quarterfinal round action, half 2 coming up in a little bit, but let's throw you to the studio with Kevin Connors, Seth Greenberg, and Sean Farno. Welcome back to ESPN's presentation of college basketball in the 2021 NIT. Denton, Texas getting a very entertaining first half of basketball. 34-all Mississippi State and Richmond. Hello, everybody. Derek Jones and John Crispin with you this evening. And, John, you take a look at the first half, back and forth tie game. What did you see out of that first 20?
Well, some sloppy basketball, some good things. I saw a lot of made shots, particularly for Jacob Gilliard from 3. 4 of 6 to start this game. All his points coming from 3 outside of 1 at the free throw line, and that was that and 1 4-point play. It was good ball movement, though. And when you get a good shooter, good looks early, good things are going to happen. Now, when they have good ball movement, they get to set their defense. When they set their defense, they do what they do best, and that's take it away. They forced 11 turnovers, and 7 of those were steals. That was the key for them defensively. But Iverson Molinar, this is a guy, look, you do something like this, we show it twice. He gives a little mini stare down, but they fought back. His 16 points, 6 of 7 from the field in the first half. That was key. If they could just take care of the basketball, I have a tough time thinking Mississippi State doesn't win this game.
Well, look at those field goal percentages. This is a tie game.
Yeah, right.
67 to 37 percentage-wise. But that shows you kind of what turnovers have done through the first 20 minutes as the second half underway. And losing the handle is Davis. So if you're just joining us, Tolu Smith, one of the standout forwards for Mississippi State, not active tonight. And
I think if you're Mississippi
opportunity
State
for Davis to stand out.
You just want to move the basketball, and you want to be fundamental to start. Maybe not that. you're going to get the foul called on Burton. But you want to move the basketball. You want to jump to the try to come to the ball on the catch. So you come to the ball on the catch. Do simple fundamental things. Move the basketball. Create a little rhythm. Build on some confidence. But the last thing you want to do is make careless turnovers early and almost have that first half perpetuate itself into the second.
So Fountain took that hard tumble back on his feet. Davis for three.
Well, that looked good from the catch. A little pass fake. I mean, two guys could have covered, or one guy could have covered two there in that situation. Spacing wasn't good, but little ball fake got him just enough space to get the shot up.
An answer out of the hands of Burton comes up short. Stewart to the rack. Hanging in the air, can't score, but he's fouled, and he'll go to the line for two.
Yeah, I was surprised the foul didn't come early. I thought Stewart did a great job of getting in the paint, getting the ball up. His body was on balance, forcing the foul in that situation. Little body contact.
So Stewart at the stripe, all SEC second team.
I hope Stewart and Molinar understand how special they could be next year. And this should be a springboard. I mean, there should be a sense of urgency here to build on something. I mean, Seth Greenberg mentioned that in studio, talking about what you can build upon here, how you can grow as a young team. And it's a unique environment, the NIT. You're playing for a championship, and different dynamics come out in situations like this. This is a great experience for what should be an NCAA tournament team next season.
Grace once again from deep, another three-pointer for him, and he is now 3 of 3 from behind the arc.
Yeah, there's a couple things when you're playing defense against Richmond. It's going to test your principles in some ways, and then other things, it's really going to contradict your principles. So the way you close out on a big, you're in help side, but the big's flashing up top. You need to be there on the catch because not only can he shoot it, he's also one of their toughest passers. So I do think it's something that in some ways contradicts what you teach in terms of your fundamental principles defensively.
First miss of the night for Grace. Molinar tried to go behind the back and a steal, great hustle and a foul. What a play there by Isaiah Wilson.
You can see that the defensive part, taking the ball away, it's a staple of what they do. They're making themselves present to be disruptive. That's what they do. But when that ball's loose, I mean, I don't have the stat in front of me, but I'd be interested to see what percentage of 50-50 balls they get. As if a 50-50 ball is not really 50-50 if you're playing Richmond, because they've been on the floor.
One of the reasons why this game has had a lot of ebbs and flows to it, the defensive efforts of both sides, is Chris Mooney talking things over. One of the officials. Mooney, the Princeton grad, 94. Learned a ton of basketball, obviously, under the legendary Pete Carrill. Gustafson for three. That's no good. Tipped out of bounds, and it will go over the way of Mississippi State. And Mooney, mentioned earlier, 16 seasons with Richmond. 8 postseason appearances, a couple of NCAA appearances, 2 NITs. But it's an impressive note, 14 wins over top 25 teams since 2008.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. I mean, the fact he's been there 16 years, it's like an eternity in college basketball coaching. You don't see that so often, but he's the perfect fit for who they are, what they do. He's able to get the right guys. Just hard when you have so many injuries on a team that is not as deep as you'd like it to be. And that's typical of a lot of mid-majors, right? You just don't have the depth. So when one of your key guys goes out, you're not going to have the same level of production.
KO with the drive, and he is fouled as Fountain hanging all over him after he hit that three on the previous possession.
No foul, but I mean, good stuff happening when you get second chance opportunities, especially when a big gets an offensive rebound and immediately looks out. Now, of course, as a guard, we love that. You know, you do all the work and we get all the reward. That's exactly what you want, but it's the best shot you're going to get on pretty much any possession.
The side out here instead of a foul. Gilliard will toss it in. Gustafson cutting to the rim.
And they just cut so well. And the cutting is not predetermined. They are reads, and that's what makes it so challenging to defend, because you're not just defending one action. You're defending options.
Easy roll to the rim for Molinar.
It was a little Richmond offense there in a way. It was just a read. You know, draw the defense, and you make the right read to the basket, you're going to get an easy dunk.
Grace. With the exchange to KO. Under 10. KO can't hit. A due rebound. Five-point lead for the Bulldogs. This is a tie game at 34. Out of halftime. Ball batted, and it'll stay with Mississippi State.
It looked like Mississippi State had a tough time getting into what they wanted to run. I'm watching Ben Allen call something out, and the guys didn't really respond that well.
Fountain and a walk. He traveled trying to set something up there on the inbounds play.
Yeah, he literally did a defensive slide halfway up the sideline there. Not allowed.
KO. Getting his way around to the right side, can't finish at the rack.
The dude did a good job not fouling. He just kind of kept his hands off, kept sliding his feet, you know, forced the toughest shot possible. That's all you can ask.
Fountain no good on the three. Mississippi State 33% on the season from deep. Caressi underneath. He gets fouled.
Get guys rolling. Get good movement. You're going to create easy opportunities. The movement for Richmond's there. Offensively, when they get the ball moving, they're good. And then we'll taste of their own medicine here. Back cut, dunk.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of the NIT is brought to you by Can-Am. So, as we were going to break there, an interesting development as Mississippi State leads it by 5. Javion Davis having some words with one of the officials and draws a technical foul.
It didn't look like it took much. I mean, he must have said a no word. I don't know about anybody else. I've probably done a lot more than what it appeared he did, but sometimes it takes one word and you'll get teed up.
And you can tell he's frustrated. It's a different role for him tonight, starting in place of Tolu Smith. Before tonight, Davis had played less than 10 minutes in 6 consecutive games, so he has not seen a ton of action over the last 6 games, but getting a considerable look so far tonight.
Just got to control your emotions. Situation like this, you're going to get more time. Go prove that you should get more.
2 from Gilliard. Our NCAA Women's Basketball Championship Sweet 16 matchups for Saturday begin with a battle of superstar freshmen. Caitlin Clark leads Iowa against Paige Beckers and UConn at 1 Eastern on ABC, followed by Michigan and Baylor. Later on ESPN2, Indiana takes on NC State, followed by Arizona versus Texas A&M. All games are also available on the ESPN app. Solomon Caressi trying to cut this down to a 2-point game. Molinar with the rebound off the miss.
It seems as if neither team is really able to establish who's in control of this game. And it could just be a couple possessions for Mississippi State. If you can go 4 or 5 possessions without turning the basketball over, get good looks at the rim, capitalize on your length and athleticism, you got to think they have an opportunity here. Whether they can do it or not, that's the question.
Molinar away from the basket with under 10 to shoot, and Caresi bails him out.
It's the second or third time in this game where defense hasn't been aware of the shot clock. You've got to know, and that's communication too. On the floor, you've got to rely on one another to be able to talk that out, kind of point that clock out as much as you can. But you as an individual need to be aware as well.
Stewart, team's second leading scorer, lobbing it into Adu. Adu trying to power his way down low, and a player control foul called against Abdul Adu.
Those are tough. They're tough because if you're a big, there's a guy leaning on you. I mean, we have this cylinder rule. I mean, you're all up in the cylinder. I don't know what you're supposed to do. If you can't turn your body, then that means someone's too close to you. Now, maybe they're calling it on the elbow, leading with the elbow, but if that's the case, surprised we're not even looking at a monitor. But I just think at some point you got to figure out there will be contact.
That's Adu's third. KO the kick out. Bailey to a cutter, laying it in. Caresi.
It's a great find, but I believe it was Bailey got into a bad spot. Tough spot. There was only one pass he could make. And you have to have cutters like Caresi reading the play, reading the ball, making sure you're aware that your teammate's in a bad spot, make something happen.
Stewart, step back. KO rebound off the miss. Gilliard. He fires away from three.
Wow, that's big. That's an important shot. He hasn't really gotten one here in the second half. He's now 5 of 7 from three. I'll take those numbers on any given night. Team is 47% from three.
7 straight for the Spiders. In the post, hook shot, count it, and one.
That's a nice move. That's a really nice move. First flash to the ball, get the catch. You know, we often think past that. He gets to the ball, gets two hands on the ball, controls it, goes right to the left shoulder, right hook. It's a big-time play. I mean, look, he's 6'11", 7 feet tall. Not many people in the country are going to be able to stop that if you can get to it and make it, and at least get that shot consistently.
So the Netherlands product will try to break the tie. And the sophomore does.
So before the game, we had the whole issue with the basket. They had to swap out a basket. Everything was kind of disjointed to start. I don't really know if that affected either team. I feel as if once the game started, we kind of got into it. You could say it may have affected Mississippi State with the turnovers, but that's really not the case. It's just a matter of taking care of the ball. That's the Richmond offense that you're looking at.
That's great. Grace able to get another one, this time inside of the three-point line. He's done his damage out there normally.
So much of the attention. So much of the attention is going to Jacob Gilliard around the perimeter. So two guys come up. It's just a matter of him being able to create a passing lane and get the ball to the open man in Grace.
Post short on the three, loose in the lane, and now the save to Molinar. Wide open down low is Cameron Matthews.
Still feel like a little bit of work and movement offensively here against the set defense will give you an option. It'll give you an opportunity on the offensive end to at least read the defense and get something good.
KO banging away down low. Can't bank it in. And the Bulldogs on the move. Two to one advantage, points in the paint for Mississippi State, leading it by 1. Smith against Gilliard. Outside Davis, 3. The miss and a loose ball foul. And let's see who this is against.
Well, based on facial expressions, it's against Richmond.
Always a telltale sign.
Like you're sort of trying to block out if you're Grace, but you disengaged and you gave up position. You know, I like the fact that a lot of guys nowadays, when a shot goes up, they almost pass block as if they're like an offensive tackle, where you show two hands and you engage with the guy who's trying to get the offensive rebound. Then you turn and block out. I like that play, but you have to make sure that when you first engage and go to turn, the guy doesn't slip right by you. Post just walk right by.
That foul, number 2 on Grace. 9 to shoot. Driving in, Stewart. And he gets fouled, and that may be on Grace as well.
We're starting to figure things out if you're Mississippi State, moving the basketball and attacking. But Gilliard and Grace have been good, keeping this Richmond team in the game. More opportunities for Mississippi State, less turnovers.
Quarterfinal round action of the NIT going on tonight. Colorado State, North Carolina State in progress. Of course, Boise State and Memphis coming up in a little bit. We've got a good one here. The winner takes on Western Kentucky or Louisiana Tech. What do you see out of this bracket, John?
Well, I really like NC State. You know, they're doing a lot of this without Devin Daniels, one of their best scorers. But Manny Bates, DJ Funderburk, great size. I love this young guy, Cam Hayes. I know he's had some ups and downs, but as a point guard, he's just a guy that's very smooth. He kind of creates and makes his own rhythm. It's a team, again, you take one guy off a team that doesn't have that depth, and they're completely different. They go from an NCAA tournament team, hands down one of the better teams in the conference, to now just scratching and clawing trying to figure it out.
3-point lead after the free throws by Stewart. Caressi. Burton approaching 10 to shoot. Caressi going to work against Post. Goes up and can't get the 3-point play, but 2 free throws on the way for the junior.
You know, that's where Post has to be better when you're defending it, particularly in the block, and you're getting ready for a player to spin. You got to get your hands off. You got to get your hands up and off. And at times when you're playing the spin, it's good to gap a little bit, maybe take a half a step back so you're prepared to catch the body on the spin. Just a little too close there, hands drop, you pick up a foul.
Caressi out of Harlem, New York, trying to make this a 1-point game. Tied at 34. The winner goes to the semifinals of the NIT. Smith. Open for Post, he'll try a 3. Can't hit in the loose ball. Grabbed by Bailey.
I'm going to say just seeing that shot go down changes the way a defense, defends not only the individual but the rest of the team. Just creates better spacing on the floor. Something Ben Howland mentioned, he said, I just need more shooters. Shooters provide balance. It's not about just making threes. It's about providing balance for the offense to attack.
Caressi once again fouled. And Ben Howland looking over in concern.
6th, Bulldogs team foul. Again, number 2, Solomon Caressi.
Caressi at the stripe here. John, we've talked so much about the Princeton offense. How do you think the bigs fit into the picture of the quote Princeton offense? Because it has evolved over time. It has not been what you typically see, at least what you would see years and years ago with the Princeton offense.
Well, it's hard to say. I feel like there were more absolutes with the old Princeton offense, meaning like in this situation, this is what you do. And I feel like as the game has changed, you create less absolutes and more options. There are more reads because you're not just playing to run your offense anymore. You're playing to make the defense work. You're playing to make the defense adjust, and when it adjusts, then you have counters to that adjustment. So I feel like it's evolved in the sense where it's brought 5 guys into the mix, and they all have to be threats, whether that's a threat as a scorer or a threat as a passer. And a big who can pass is one of the most dangerous guys on the basketball floor. it requires a ball pressure that brings the opposing big away from the basket. Now, if you can shoot the ball, if you can score, like a guy like Amir Sims to me at Clemson, when he's passing it well, when he's shooting it well, that's a really good basketball team. Why? Well, you've got open space at the basket, and your rim protector's gone. So, the game has evolved a little bit, and as that's progressed, you see more bigs that can shoot the basketball, but when you get guys that can shoot and pass, very dangerous.
Loose ball foul on the Bulldogs. 1-1 is good by KO. The NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Championship continues Saturday with Sweet 16 matchups. For more information, go to ncaa.com, your official online home for all 90 NCAA championships. Tie game at 51 before I should say that last free throw, as it's a 1-point lead for Richmond.
And Mississippi State's got to be careful not to just let Richmond stay in this game from the foul line.
Off the miss, Fountain goes up, lost the ball. KO. Gilliard. Crossing over. Tried to create some space there, couldn't quite find it. KO bodying Fountain down low, and he did a little bit too much. Travel.
That was a good job by Fountain. That's the gapping that I talk about, right? As the player comes and it goes to spin, you just jump back slightly, and it's like pulling the chair. This is exactly what Fountain does. Just back a little bit. There he goes. He doesn't provide the resistance that the offensive player in KO is looking for, and he travels.
Stewart looking for the post again. Loose. Tracked down, though, by Davis. Under 10. Stewart. And he gets fouled.
That's tough. I like the ball pressure from Richmond. I like that, they pick up the ball and pick up your dribble, and you're going to get pressured. But when you're defending 35 feet out, you don't want to get so extended in that pressure that you give up an easy drive to the basket. At that point, it's going to create a variety of options, whether it's a drive and dump down if one helps up, or a drive and kick out to an open three.
Stewart sinks the first. Fouls certainly a theme and a storyline as this game wears on. The Bulldogs now 9 of 9 from the free throw line, but conversely, Richmond has taken 21 free throws in this game.
Well, both teams at the bonus, and both teams seem to be fouling quite a bit. I don't know when the next game's supposed to start. They may want to take a nap.
Between the delay and that, might be pushing it. We'll see. Driving. Scoop layup is good. Jai Bailey.
That's as pretty as it gets. Defense all gets sucked up to one side of the floor. Poor ball screen defense, and he's able to get all the way to the basket with no help.
Stewart retrieves the handle. Contending, battling, can't get it to go. Gustafson with the loose ball. Doesn't have the numbers. Out to Bailey, and Bailey stepped out of bounds.
I feel like I've seen that more this year than ever before. That sideline, it's just more than ever before. I like that. Just a kind of a breakdown defensively, because everything happened so fast. It was kind of a give and give back and then go, which is not officially a give and go. It was a give and get back and then go.
1 point lead for Richmond, trying to win this game without the services of two of their top leading scorers, and Blake Francis and Grant Golden. And another whistle as Stewart hits the deck, in part thanks to Jai Bailey.
Look, again, I like the pressure. It's all good. Show hands wide, but and he may have a point with the hook, but it doesn't mean you can, dig your knee into the driver. Fouls could end up determining the outcome of this game. If Richmond can continue to get to the free throw line, I feel like scoring's has been harder for Richmond than it's been for Mississippi State. And Mississippi State has that advantage. If they can get to the paint, they're going to have an opportunity to finish.
Stewart good on the first, and certainly over the last few minutes, we've got 8:37 left to go in this game, and you kind of just touched on it. The Bulldogs have missed on 6 of their last 7 shots. The free throw shooting aspect of this, that's kind of keeping them in this game at this point, and now with the lead.
Oh, now what, 12 of 12 from the free throw line for Mississippi State? I mean, it's going to keep them going while they figure it out, but Richmond needs to continue to move it, space it, try to play through Grace a little bit more. He makes good decisions, or you can just do that.
The Gilliard miss off the 3, the Davis rebound. Remember that free throw number, because Mississippi State on the season shooting 65% from the line. They won't get free throws on that trip, as that one goes all the way into the backcourt.
That's one of those ones where, I'm sure as a coach, you're just kind of like, where? Like, where? There's nowhere to go there. You're jumping out of bounds. There's nowhere to go. You have to get lucky to be actually able to find a teammate on that situation. Just make the simple play.
Gustafson from 3. The lead back to Richmond.
When you make a mistake on one end, it's really hard not to compound that on the other. You get mentally messed up. You don't play with instincts as much as you wish you could. You start to think a little bit, and at times you get out of position. Molinar just out of position defensively.
Stewart in position there to score, to tie it at 57. Timeout called by the Bulldogs.
When Richmond's got good ball movement, rhythm threes are what we've found. And this is pretty simple. Defense falls asleep, feet ready, shoulders squared, bottoms.
Our NCAA Women's Basketball Championship Sweet 16 matchups for Saturday begin with a battle of superstar freshmen. Caitlin Clark leads Iowa against Paige Beggars in UConn at 1 Eastern on ABC, followed by Michigan and Baylor. Later on ESPN2, Indiana takes on NC State, followed by Arizona versus Texas A&M. All games are also available on the ESPN app. Back here in Denton, Texas, Derek Jones and John Crispin with you, 57-all. Mississippi State and Richmond in the quarterfinal round of the NIT. Winner goes on to the semifinals on Saturday.
It's interesting, Derek, when you talk about the injuries for Richmond, it changes not only the production. I think that's the obvious, that's the surface, but it changes the dynamic on the floor. Like, some guys are your communicators, some guys are your ball movers, and sometimes you have good communicators. That's just great offense. That's the offense that we've been waiting for from Richmond. When you have good communicators on the defensive end, that's one thing, but if you have good communicators offensively, sometimes that's body language. Guys that speak the same language without having to actually verbalize anything. It changes the dynamic, and I think it's something that Richmond, through the pauses that they've had this year, they've had to figure a lot out.
Chemistry.
Yep, 100%.
Stewart, 7 to shoot. Launching with 3. Rimming out on the three-pointer is Smith. Loose ball. Tracked down by Gilliard. And the Spiders.
So you saying chemistry was your way of saying there's a shorter way to get to that, dude. Was that what you were saying?
No. I'm just putting a period on the thought. That's all. Gilliard.
Sometimes a novel comes out. What do you want me to do?
Molinar going to work here in a 2-point game. The Bulldogs winning their NIT opener against St. Louis last Saturday by 6. Molinar off. Fountain rebound though. Ripped away by Gilliard, falls to the floor, and he gets a timeout.
How is it that Gilliard always seems to be in the right spot? I mean, the only answer is instincts. He's just got great instincts. And this is the type of basketball we love. You've got to take the three-point shot away. But again, C-man, C-ball. You need those principles defensively. Talk about guys like Pete Carrill, and you think Princeton offense, back cut, good spacing, reads. Yeah, it's changed a little bit over time. I'll call this Princeton adjacent. It's still making reads, it's still back cutting, but ultimately it's capitalizing on additional options. Those additional options like three-point shooting and a good passing big who can also shoot the basketball creates even more back cut opportunities. If you're a defense, you have to pick and choose what you want them to do. If you don't want them to back cut, you need to be, C-man, C-ball number one. The other one is keep yourself between your man and the basket. And if you do those simple things, you can dictate the movement a little bit more. Now, there are counters to that, but we haven't seen Richmond have to do that. I would force Richmond into their secondary counters.
And it's interesting to watch this offense under the backdrop of other Princeton alums who are also coaching. Of course, Mitch Henderson, former Tigers player, is at Princeton as their head coach. Brian Earl at Cornell, and they both do things that kind of implement the big man into a newer form, as we see Grace there lining it up and putting it in.
Yeah, well, one of the greatest things about having a big that plays around the perimeter is the type of spacing you get. They're going to call that foul on Adu. I mean, if you're going to call it's probably a foul, but ultimately it's up to the defense to call that out. I'd like to see it again. I mean, I think we make a lot of foul calls on screens. I'm usually good when I see it a second and third time in slow-mo. That's not a foul. He's standing there. He's literally standing there with plenty of room. It's a violent collision, and I know we don't like that, but Adu did not move.
And he's gone. That's his fifth, and that's a defensive presence that's gone. That's the team's leading shot blocker, who at one point during his high school career, to show you what an impactful player he is, blocked 279 shots in his sophomore year in high school. Obviously, things change a little bit once you get to the college level, but his presence will be missed.
I mean, I don't know what they're looking. I bet if they're looking at this, they're going to say, wow, we didn't do a good job. I mean, I don't know what else you can do. Maybe he leaned a little bit. I mean, a slight lean.
I think it looked worse in real time, maybe from their perspective. Otherwise, you look at that replay. I mean,
he's just standing there.
Yeah,
there's not much
exactly.
you can do. I mean, look, it's up to the defenses has to call it out. You have to make Gustafson aware that a screen is coming. So at least he can get his head up. That's the challenge. Now Gustafson also did not have his back to him. Now you can't come up and set a screen into someone's back without giving him room to turn. That is a foul. But Gustafson was moving sideways. It was just a violent collision. I think if anything, it's a reaction to a violent collision. What are they saying? They got it wrong?
Well, this is going to be interesting. Chris Mooney, whatever he was told, he is not happy.
I mean, give the officials a redo. It looks like Adu's coming back on the floor.
You don't see that often. Went from fouling out to now back in there.
Well, you can wipe off the foul, but you cannot call a foul on Gustafson in that situation. So right. You can at least correct it and wipe off the foul, which I like.
So bookmark that play and call.
Yeah. I mean, it's just an unfortunate play for Gustafson, too. I mean, he just got caught with a bad screen.
Yeah, and it means even more tonight because you don't have Tolu Smith, who runs 6'10" down there, along with Adu.
Yeah, you're relying heavily on Davis playing more minutes.
Stewart can't finish at the rim. Tough miss. There's 5.5 left to go. KO against Stewart. Gustafson. Gilliard 3. Off. Loose ball. And it's Smith of the Bulldogs. And he gets bumped.
I thought there was an opportunity missed there. There was a switch where Adu was stuck on Jacob Gilliard. I would have gotten him the ball immediately, tried to space out, allow him to attack Adu with those 4 fouls and maybe get him out of the game.
That's going to be number 3 on KO. So the foul situation both ways. It's bonus time and a 1-and-1 minimum the rest of the way. And again, this performance by Mississippi State from the line, counter to what they have been this season.
Yeah.
Just 65% from the stripe heading into tonight.
How's 100%?
2-point game, 5 minutes left to go. NIT quarterfinal. Gilliard. Now Grace on the attack. Outside, Gustafson open for 3. Missed it. And Smith with a loose ball and on the move. 1-on-2, lost it. Gustafson with the save.
I think he got fouled.
Burton.
No, this is a take a breath possession. Just there you go. Chris Mooney putting his hands up. Guys, take a breath. Let's get into something. You want to maximize every possession as best as possible and still take some chances when you can.
Inside, blocked. KO rejected at the rim, got it back, missed it again. Adu blocks him. Down low, snatches the ball away.
And Adu was trying so hard not to pick up that foul. But how about the block from Smith? Great cut, too, from Richmond to get open. I believe it was Gustafson made the cut. Great flash to the basketball. Got a nice layup opportunity, but Smith took it away.
2-point lead for the Spiders. And a steal. Down the floor. And 1! Nathan KO extends the lead to 4.
And that's a big momentum builder as you head into this under 4 timeout. What is it? Well, it's what Richmond does well. Defense leads to offense. The steal, the throw ahead, strong finish, and headed to the line for another. Welcome back to Denton, Texas, where Richmond Spiders have a 4-point lead. And if you're talking about Richmond, it's probably going to include this guy, Jacob Gilliard. He's been terrific from the floor, particularly from deep, 5 of 10 from 3, seeking out those 3-point opportunities. And when he shoots it well, he's able to find other teammates. But what he does best is get steals. 3.5 steals per game on the year. He's got 4 today. And one of the other things that we don't say enough about when it comes to Richmond basketball is the fact that their movement leads to a lot of assisted baskets. Good movement leads to a nice pass, easy finish. 14 assists on 20 made field goals on the night for Richmond.
KO can't finish off the 3-point play. Gilliard, by the way, top 5 entering tonight all time in the history of D1 in steals. He had 354 before this game tipped off.
You know, sometimes you hear that and you go, well, that's great, top 5, as a dude finishes down low. And you say, wow, that's great, top 5. But then you start to think and go, God, what else did someone else do? You know, I mean, you watch this kid, you feel like, you know, every few possessions he's going to get a steal. What was it like for number 1?
Goodness. 2-point lead for Richmond. 3 ball up. That's short, as Burton could not get it. Davis able to snatch down the rebound.
Macy did a good job, Grace did a good job showing the basketball as if he was going to pass it down towards the paint, in the paint, towards the post. And that little ball fake got his teammate in Burton a wide open shot.
Molinar, under 10 to shoot. Down to 5. Stewart away from the basket. 1-footer, short. And the rebound taken away by the Spiders, who lead it by 2 in the 5th all-time meeting between these 2 programs.
And right now, it's not just about working clock. You know, it's a 2-point game with 2:15 left. It's about working the defense. Continue to break them down. You get a good shot, you're not going to get beat in transition. Good movement, He'll play better defense.
Grace at work in the paint. Tough shot, got it to go.
He can't play better defense. That was good defense. You forced the toughest shot possible. That's all you can ask of a defense, is to force the toughest shot possible. They did just that. Just a terrific finish by Grace.
Season high in scoring for Grace. He has 16. Stewart. Lefty layup is in.
He covered a lot of ground there. Just a couple dribbles, good footwork, got all the way to the rim. No one was really present to be able to take him off of his line.
Just over a minute left. 2-point lead for the Spiders. Gustafson. Now KO. Stuck. 8 to shoot. KO again. Fade away. Missed it. And an ado rebound.
You know, Grace made that shot. Not a great possession the previous possession. And right there, not a good possession for Richmond. The timeout here for Ben Howland.
2-point lead for Richmond. NIT semifinals on the line. Under a minute left to go, 58.8 remaining. NIT quarterfinal round. Mississippi State trails Richmond 65-63. John, the Bulldogs have used up all of their timeouts. What do you think the thought process here is for Ben Howland?
Well, you're talking about a number of situations here. You're not just talking about what you're going to do here with the basketball. You're talking about end-of-game situations. There's a lot to cover. There's 58.8 seconds. I think the first thing first, you've got to create space again and try to get to the basket. That's where they're at their best. You've done wonders at the foul line, 14 of 14 from the free throw line. You've gotten fouled a number of times, and it's not just on the finish, it's also on the drive. So with space, you allow your athletes to make the plays. I mean, we talked about the length and athleticism. That was a concern for Chris Mooney. I've got to think creating some space, getting something at the rim is what Mississippi State's looking for. But additionally, defensively, you've got to maintain principles. You've had 2 good possessions. You forced a tough shot by Grace and then got a good stop. But now you got to capitalize on the offensive end.
Stewart. And a bump. And Stewart is on his way to the free throw line.
I mean, you had 4 high there. The baseline's wide open. There's no help. That's all about getting something to the basket. And I love it. You're putting the opportunity into one of your best players' hands, and they're going to call that every time. I know it's not an egregious foul, and quite frankly, I would have fouled it at every game I ever played in, but they call that hand check.
That's number 3 on Isaiah Wilson. Stewart looking for point 19. Has it and has a tie game. 65 all. Derek Jones and John Crispin with you tonight. Thanks for joining us here in the NIT quarterfinals. Gilliard leaning in and scores.
Wow. Look, that is as difficult a shot as you could ask a guy to hit. Running to the right, which I'm telling you, if you're going to the right and you're a right-handed shooter, you've got to get your shoulders square. So all his momentum is taking him right. He's got to get those shoulders turned to the basket. That's where you see a little pause in the air. He got himself square, was able to finish. That is not an easy shot, and that's a big-time make for this Richmond team who needed a bucket.
22 points for Gilliard. A team high and a game high.
Wow. A little pause there at the end. It gave him just enough time to get squared and have confidence to shoot that thing.
Chris Mooney setting up things on his end. Richmond has 1 timeout left. Mississippi State has no timeouts left.
That was a helpful timeout for Ben Howland. I like what they came out with in that 4-high set. And they didn't just immediately move off of it. There was a pause there that allows your player, if the baseline's open, you attack. Not sure you could do the same thing, but the concept could remain the same in terms of creating an ISO opportunity to drive it, maybe earn more at the foul line. Again, 16-16 from the foul line for Mississippi State.
30 seconds left. That's been their saving grace really in this game. They're shooting 36% in this second half. Stewart almost lost it. Tracked down though by Molinar. Molinar tried to split two defenders. Stewart in. Layup is no good. Tipped. That doesn't go. Adu battling. Can't finish it. But a couple of free throws on the way for Abdul Adu.
Well, I can tell you one thing. If I look at the clipboard that Ben Hallen may use in a timeout, it's not going to look anything like what that play looked like. That was a broken play, and sometimes you get enough defenders chasing the basketball in a broken play that it creates an opportunity around the rim, even for an offensive rebound.
Huge moment.
Do you think Adu is stressing a little here? Because he's sitting there going, wait, we haven't missed a free throw all game.
Well, if you're just hopping into this one, he received a new lease on life. He thought he had fouled out of the game. They took a look at the foul, reversed the call, brought him back in, and now he has a chance to tie this game up. That was Burton's 5th foul. And Adu at the line, 68%. First miss of the night for the Bulldogs.
And on the other end, 14-22 for Richmond. I want to keep Jacob Gilliard from getting the ball.
Doesn't get either. Tipped around and grabbed by KO. Ahead to Gustafson, and he is fouled with 8.7 left to go.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough for Adu in that situation. You know, you're feeling the pressure down the stretch. 2 free throws tie it up. And at this point, it's a bit of a free, I'll call it a free timeout. I'd be talking to my guys. I'd have them know exactly what I want them to do in this situation. Miss or make.
So Gustafson, the junior from Fenley, will step in. 76% on the season from the line. Missed it. Post with a rebound. 7 seconds left. Ahead to Stewart. Stewart for 3. Got it! DJ Stewart gives the Bulldogs a 1-point lead with 1.8 left.
There are a lot of times, I'll tell you, I don't like this shot in the sense that if it doesn't go in, you're sitting there talking about how it's hero ball, trying to win the basketball game on one shot. But man, when it goes in, it probably feels good. Good defense. Richmond was there, protecting against the drive. I mean, contesting to the level of the ball, that's all you can ask for if you're the Richmond defense. Maybe stop the ball, but goodness gracious, look, sometimes you hit a big shot.
Unbelievable. Lead change 16. We've still got a little bit left. Mississippi State not out of the woods yet.
And you have to, look, if you're Mississippi State, number one, you're saying, guys, we do not want to foul. And you probably can't say it enough. We do not want to foul. We don't want to give them an opportunity to tie this thing up, even win the basketball game with little or no time on the clock. You also want to force Richmond to catch this thing in the backcourt, not heading towards the basket. You do not want to get beat long, obviously. You don't want a long pass.
Let's see, they're reviewing how much time's left here.
So 2.1 maybe?
Flat 2 seconds.
Official on the baseline just got body checked by a celebrating Mississippi State player. He thought it was over.
So the team leader in 3-point makes this season, DJ Stewart, hitting a 3-pointer that may send the Bulldogs to the semifinals. But Jacob Gilliard and company might have something to say about that with 2 seconds left.
It really just depends where on the floor they catch it. I mean, look, there's a chance you can heave one from three-quarter court, but you really want to get headed towards the rim. Mississippi State's got tight on the ball. Obviously, Post is going to take that away.
KO looking, throws it long, tipped away, and it's all over. DJ Stewart sends Mississippi State to the NIT semifinals with a 1-point win over Richmond. Coming up next on ESPN2, it's a SportsCenter special with Mel Kiper's NFL Mock Draft 3.0. For John Crispin and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Derek Jones. Thanks so much for watching. The final score from Denton, 68-67. Mississippi State wins it and are moving on to the NIT semifinals.